On the 29th of March 1973, the last regular American troops withdrew from South Vietnam. As the number of US troops sent to Vietnam increased throughout the 1960s, opposition to the war within America grew. The spring of 1969 saw the new president, Richard Nixon, who had been elected the previous November, begin implementing the Nixon Doctrine. More commonly known as the policy of Vietnamization, Nixon intended to expand, equip, and train South Vietnam's forces and assign on the 29th of March. This ended 8 years of direct American military involvement in the country. The last American civilians didn't leave South Vietnam until they were evacuated in Operation Frequent Wind.
Operation Frequent Wind. This included a map of Saigon showing areas where they would be picked up when the signal was given. Frequent Wind was carried out on April 29th and 30th.
During the Reagan administration, the U.S. again began supporting UNITA.
5 and the 10th of November, after the invasion by South Africa had taken place.
But in fact, Cuban troops had begun.
In September, the Cubans brought in 700 regular Army troops, not advisors, but regular Army soldiers. In late September, and then in October, we brought in the South African Armored Column. And then the Cubans responded by establishing a bridge and bringing in what eventually totaled 40,000 troops with tanks and jets and everything.
Over a decade after the fact, and in the wake of peace talks, Castro insists that the 50,000 Cubans sent to Angola were a response to South African aggression.
And not do anything fairer than to help the Angolan people.
Históricamente está probado
Historically, it has been proved
de que
that
fueron los surafricanos
it was the South
y
Africans
las tropas de Zaire las que
And the Zaire
iniciaron la
troops
invasión de Angola.
who began Angola's invasion.
Cronológicamente,
So, chronologically,
The Americans found themselves drawn into support for UNITA and an association with South Africa.
Royal again, with Cuban soldiers protecting their South Africa's interest in Angola was their own interest to stop the MPLA from gaining power, to stop the Cubans. But at a different level, they were delighted to become involved with the United States to seduce us into a situation of military involvement with them, which they...
The Angolan conflict escalated rapidly, exposing CIA activities. For the second time that year, America abandoned an ally. Without U.S. backing, South Africa withdrew its forces, and UNITA was left to face the full might of Soviet, Cuban, and MPLA forces.
Viva o camarada presidente José Eduardo dos Santos! venceremos.
La marcha hacia la victoria.
No se detiene.
Por una Nicaragua liberada.
Guerra popular prolongada. ¡Solo el pueblo! ¡Salva al pueblo!
Esta situación, pues estarían metiendo el cuchillo mensual o menos.
Developing world news, the U.S. and Iraq are expected to soon begin talks on the future of the U.S. military presence in the country. The Iraqi government is calling for the U.S. to withdraw its troops. Those calls seem to be in response to the U.S. launching airstrikes inside Iraq.
We're just going to bring you these live and exclusive pictures here from inside the presidential palace. What you are looking at right now is Taliban fighters inside the presidential palace. This is these pictures.